The 5 best bread machines. Bread. We all love it, and especially appreciate it when it's fresh from the oven. But other than fresh-made loaves at a local bakery, most of us settled for the plastic-wrapped loaves at the grocery store. The truth is, making your own bread at home, even gluten-free loaves, is easier than you think, thanks to high-tech bread machines. You see, making homemade bread is something special, in my opinion. My husband grew up in a household where fresh loaf was baked daily, so once I got married, I knew mastering bread making was something I needed to do, stat. And the truth is, it's actually an enjoyable process to knead and bake. Not only do you know all the ingredients that go into your bread, but it also makes for quite an impressive addition to a dinner party. While I don't typically make bread with a bread maker, I found that using one of these nifty machines actually took the guesswork out of the equation. Breville Custom Loaf BBM 800XL, available at Amazon for $299.95, was the best bread machine we tested because it consistently produced a nicely shaped loaf with a crunchy crust and soft, pillowy inside. Plus, the machine was so easy to use. And those on a budget will be pleased with results from the Oster Express Bake CBK-200, available at Amazon, our choice for best value. Number 5. Breadman Professional BK-1050S. This machine had an impressive variety of features that can come in handy for a baker that likes to experiment with different bread recipes. Of course, it includes the basic white and whole wheat modes, but there are also modes for French bread, low-carb bread, and even artisan dough. Another great feature is the automatic fruit and nut dispenser that adds mixed-in ingredients at the perfect time to be evenly dispersed throughout the dough before baking. The biggest downfall with this machine was the inconsistency in the shape. One white loaf had a slightly sunken top, while the whole wheat top was scraggly and uneven. Number 4. Panasonic SDR2550. This machine produced some tasty results, both when it came to regular bread and gluten-free alternatives. We were impressed by how easy this appliance was to navigate, thanks to its extremely comprehensive manual and quick start guide, which comes with 27 easy-to-follow recipes. Think everything from whole wheat bread and pizza dough to cake. The bread pan that comes with the machine is also extremely easy to clean, thanks to a non-stick coating that makes tacked-on dough a breeze to rinse off. Unfortunately, not every loaf that came out of the machine during testing looked as good as it tasted. Several bread varieties, like sourdough, whole wheat, and gluten-free, emerged from the bread pan with a lumpy exterior that was not easy on the eyes. The other downfall of this machine is that it doesn't feature a viewing window, so you'll have to fight all temptations to open the lid and check on your bread while it bakes. Number 3. Zojirushi Home Bakery Virtuoso Plus BBPDC-20. Even though this machine didn't earn top marks, it was still one of the most impressive units we tested. The best feature is the double kneading blades that thoroughly mixed ingredients and made a soft, pliable, and stretchy dough. Overall, the shape of the loaf with this machine was the most consistent amongst the bread makers tested, leaving each loaf with a nice rounded top like what we're used to seeing in the grocery store aisles. The major downside is that this machine has a rest mode that allows all the ingredients to be warmed to the right temperature before mixing and kneading begins. On one hand, this is a nice feature and surely impacts the final results of the bread, but it did take about 45 to 60 minutes longer than the other machines to get the end of the cycle. This means you'll have to plan ahead even more if working within a specific time frame or schedule. Number 2. Oster Express Bake CKSTBRTW20. One of the inconveniences of bread making is the amount of time it takes to make the dough, proof it, sometimes twice, and bake it. It can take a few hours just to get fresh bread on the table, which requires a lot of planning ahead. If you aren't quite a planner, or you just have limited patience, this express bake is the one for you. You can have a freshly baked loaf of bread in less than an hour. Not to mention, it comes at a much lower price tag, plus adds a viewing window to watch your baking in progress. Overall, this express machine is less than half the price of some of the other machines we tested. The loaves I made with the express bake weren't the prettiest amongst the bunch, but they were still edible and had a proper crunchy crust and fluffy middle. Instead of a rectangle-shaped loaf, expect a rounded, artisan-like shape from this maker. Personally, I didn't consider this a concern, but it did come to mind that it may be an issue for someone hoping to feed a large family. This machine also did not have a gluten-free setting, so if you are avoiding gluten, this may not be the machine for you. Number 1. Breville Custom Loaf BBM 800 XL. After making 5 impressive loaves and a perfectly pliable pizza dough, Breville Custom Loaf was the clear winner amongst the tested machines. From crunchy crust on white and whole wheat bread loaves to a super soft interior and a gluten-free version, this stainless steel machine surely impressed. There are 9 custom settings, which makes it a no-brainer for users to make a variety of bread types without much effort. I also found that the kneading blade seemed to be the most durable of all the bread makers with one paddle. It even has a smart feature that collapses the blade before baking, so it doesn't get stuck in the loaf as it cooks. Another feature that bread lovers will find useful is the automatic fruit and nut dispenser. Of course, you can put other mix-ins inside this compartment, but it dispenses your added ingredients at the best time to be evenly distributed throughout the dough. As for usability, the LCD display was pretty much self-explanatory, so I didn't even have to read the instructions before making my first loaf. I also found that the Breville properly kneaded all of the doughs until soft, smooth, and elastic. With other machines, I had to manually scrape the sides to ensure the dough came together in a perfect ball. What really set this apart from the other machines is the result of the gluten-free loaf. Most of the machines struggled in this department, but the Breville loaf was practically perfect and developed a crusty exterior and a super soft interior. The only major setback of this bread maker was the inconsistency in the loaf top. Even though the dough was super soft and pliable, over half of the loaves came out with lumpy tops. A lumpy top won't change taste, but it does make a difference in presentation. The other downside is the size of the machine. Living in a one-bedroom apartment with a galley kitchen, there isn't much space in my house to store it. However, if you plan to make bread once or twice a week, you could store it in a cupboard or closet until you're ready.